Okay. All right.
Oh,
You
you're
want me
not
in?
Rafa.
Or do you?
The live stream says that
Not.
you're Rafa,
Oh,
but you're not.
Caleb, tell me why the live stream would say that I'm Rafa.
Yeah, so we did this really cool interview.
That's a
earlier.
segue.
Yeah, that was completely accidental, but I'll take it. Yeah, we did this interview earlier with Rafa Salise. I could be wrong.
I don't know.
I know. I kept screwing it up.
Salasi. I'll just say.
I went back and watched.
I'll say it different.
Yeah, you say Salase. It is Salase. Oh, that's it. All right, because I went back and watched the live stream to add the comments, and
Right.
I said it wrong, like right after he said it. It's like, damn it, Caleb. But yeah, you guys should go check out that interview with Rafa. It got like really deep. We talked about Dave Chappelle and Terrell Owens and Kendrick Lamar and Tupac, and then just like race relations in general. It was like, no offense to anyone else that we've had on. We've had some really great interviews so far, and you should check those out too. But it was definitely the most like relevant interview that we've had so far.
Yeah, I would say that for sure, and I wasn't even part of it.
That was unfortunate.
And it's okay. That's what happens. Anyways, yeah, no, I would say what was really funny is how you just worded that. You said it got so deep, and then you were like, we talked about Dave Chappelle and Terrell Owens, and then I was going to be like, Andy 40.
He made a point about Terrell Owens that like blew my mind, and I was like, oh my god, I've never like looked at him that way.
I think I had to sign off before that. Tell me.
So he basically was saying that he's a good guy, but that to come out of a small town in Alabama and become a Hall of Fame wide receiver, you have to have a certain attitude about you. And the media like used him as a villain role for entertainment for so many years, which is fine. That's the thing that happens. But then they didn't vote him in on the first ballot after using him for so long, and that's what he's really sour about right now. And I was just like, I hadn't thought about that. Anyway, Seth, you want to do the official podcast intro now?
Yeah, first off, I want to say Terrell Owens had the best touchdown celebration I've ever seen.
Was that
the pin? Oh, the pin. No, the pin. The pin under the what is it called?
The
goalpost
pad,
yeah, whatever. And he got it out and signed the ball and gave it to a fan. I was like, that is dope. I like that it took so much time. It took pre-thought. Like, he went out there during warm-ups and slid a Sharpie under there.
I think he got fined for it, but it's like, whatever, he just made that
he definitely did, but
life.
Right, yeah, you made that fan's life, and news for exactly what you're supposed to make the news for, which is being that villain role. The NFL loved it. Don't let them tell you any different.
Well, that's basically what his point was, is he brought in millions of dollars playing that villain role.
Right. Right.
Anyway, before we fully get started, those of you watching the live stream, if I look like I'm glistening, it's because we got a heat wave up here in New England, and we don't have air conditioning in New England, so I'm sweaty. That's why I'm also wearing this skimpy, slutty shirt.
I was going to say, shake them for me one time.
So, before we fully get into it, Megan just said, Ollie just looked at the screen and said, Daddy and another daddy like to call Caleb another daddy. So.
Oh, okay.
Hi, son.
He does think that, any guys with dark hair and a beard, he's like, that looks like Daddy. I get it. Yeah, exactly. No, it's fine. This is not a sore subject for me. I've had years to deal with this. Anyways,
we'll do the start now. Do you want me to
actual show intro?
I don't remember.
Yeah, you start it up.
Okay.
Sure, I don't know. Start it up.
Hello out there, and welcome to another episode of the B-Side Guys, a pretty much bi-weekly now podcast that focuses on undiscovered music in multiple genres, all centering around a universal theme. And this is episode 18, centering around the theme of existentialism. I'm Caleb Alexander, along with my co-hosts.
I am Seth Williams, and one cool thing about this episode, this is part 1. We had so many cool... existentialism is a pretty broad topic if you really think about it. It could be about anything. So we found a ton of great music that we really, really love that we either fit really well or we, molded it to fit. Either way, it's made it
so good. We gotta have it.
It's so good. We need to share it. Yeah. So we have 2 episodes. This is part 1. It's going to be 6 songs. The next episode, 6 songs. So I'm stoked. This is our third 2-part episode, right? Is that right?
Yeah, I think so. We
Man.
Well, those first 2 happened because we got like a billion submissions from Reddit that one time, and we were just like, "This is all so good. We got to find a place to fit it." This time we had the luxury of choice, and we just couldn't stop.
Yeah, absolutely. So, as you guys know, every episode we have a secret guest come on the show. But to kind of prove the point of existentialism, there were tons of people that wanted to be on the show. But I made the choice. I made the choice of will. I made B-Side Guy's destiny with my own hands and said nobody's coming, which is kind of a a way of explaining existentialism. Honestly, all the people I could find were authors that whatever, they wouldn't be fun. And this is supposed to be a fun part of this show.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'm not coming up.
Those of you that are somewhat unclear on the definition of existentialism, it's kind of that feeling you get when you question your place in time and space and reality, and wonder what the purpose of this all is. If there's anyone pulling the strings, if anyone is actually out there. So yeah, having no one show up is perfect.
And existentialism is also being aware that you have the force of will on your own destiny. That's part of it as well, like coming to that realization that,
Oh no, you froze. We'll give it a second. You're not completely frozen. I've heard a couple sputters, so just hold on a second.
Oh, was it my neck? Was it my neck cracking?
Maybe it'll catch up. You're just moving a little slow. Come on, internet.
Man.
Okay, wait. I think you're back now.
Am I back?
Yeah. All right. So say what you were saying about
Awesome.
existentialism again.
Oh, I don't know. I was just saying that it's realizing that the definition of existentialism.
You froze up again.
Yeah.
If you're watching the live stream, we'll have this fixed in just a moment. But yeah, Seth, you're frozen at the moment. But the good news is we're just in the intro, so we'll just keep plugging along. You're still going to get to hear lots of really great music. Seth, are you there? Anyway, while I'm killing time, I'm just going to sit here and sweat a lot. I don't know about you guys, but it's like 95 degrees in New England, and New England's not super prepared for 95 degrees. So Yeah, or at least we're not prepared. I guess we should have another air conditioning unit. My parents are coming up soon, and they're going to be in this room, and it's like I feel kind of bad because it's miserably hot in here right now. Still no Seth. Seth, maybe try the other internet. I don't know if you can even hear me anymore. Like try your phone maybe. Oh, he went away. All right, so here's what I'm going to do for you guys. Oh, he's calling right now. Hey. I don't hear you now, but I see you.
Yeah, okay. Is that any better?
Yep.
All right, cool.
All right, people, 4 people out there. We're back.
Am I actually still in it?
Yeah, you're here. You're good.
Sweet.
All right, so try again to define existentialism, and we'll go from there.
Yeah, just existentialism is, the definition is a philosophical theory or approach that emphasizes the existence of the individual person as a free and responsible agent determining your own development. So you realize that you are making these choices, and you realize that it's almost like you're seeing yourself in third person, and you know that you're the puppet master of your own destiny, so to speak.
Or starting to think about whether or not you are, like.
Well, true, yeah, right.
Yeah, and that's something that we'll get into with some of these songs. But yeah, so do you remember when you first had an existential thought, or when something like that hit you? I mean, I think it hits most of us in our adolescence at some point.
Yeah. So and this is actually, I didn't write this down anywhere, so I'm going to try to remember this story as best I can. But it was basically, I was at a friend's house spending the night, and I grew up very rigid, fire and brimstone Southern Baptist, and yay, yeah. And I remember thinking, I don't remember what we had just watched, but probably Land Before Time or something, if we're being honest. But
I mean, even that title, that's pretty existential.
I started thinking, what if a meteor hits the planet, a meteorite, and if I need to make the most of the time before, which this is really weird for a kid to think, do I want to follow a path that's written for me, or do I want to make my own path before a hypothetical meteorite destroys human life as we know it?
Like from like your parents choosing a path, or like a god choosing a path?
No, like a god, like a god choosing a path, or do I get to choose my own path? And then it's like, so it was like Calvinistic thoughts before I knew what Calvinism was.
Did you come up with a conclusion on that?
Let's see, TBD, I guess. And
for the past several hundred years, several thousand
years. Yeah. Anyways, how about you, Caleb?
Yeah, I mean, I grew up having a lot of thoughts like that. Like I've now I would call it anxiety. Like it's just definitely just an indication that I've had an anxiety issue since I was a very small child. But yeah, when I was really, really little, some of my earliest memories are thinking about the infiniteness of space and being really freaked out by that, and the infiniteness of time. Most kids, they hear about heaven for the first time. They're like, oh, cool, eternity of perfection. And all I hear is the word eternity. And I'm like, what? Eternity? Like forever? Like forever? I'm stuck in that place forever? And so definitely some of that. But I think the worst hit smack in the face. So when I was 15, I was experimenting, doing a little drugs. Smoking a little weed, and I went to a friend that I didn't. Well, not a friend. I went with a friend to this person that I didn't really know, and they were doing a gravity bong. Which those of you that don't know weed, gravity bong is like a lot of weed, really fast to your brain, and for someone that's inexperienced, like I was, it isn't good. And
right.
So
it's basically like if you just started drinking for the first time and you just started with shots of Everclear.
Yeah, exactly. Like a lot of them.
Right. Right.
So, and then it also came out later that apparently it had been sprayed with like codeine or something. So yeah. Anyway, I got blitzed or whatever you want to call it. I was tripping balls, all that sort of stuff. And like you said, we grew up kind of with a fire and brimstone sort of attitude. So I was convinced I was dying. And because I was convinced I was dying, I knew either I was going to hell or nothing was going to happen and that my short life was over. I definitely didn't think I was going to like go to the good place, because I already at that point was questioning whether or not there was a good place. And I think
when you were going, you at that point in your mind, when you were going to wherever you were going,
I was high, yeah.
You were super high, yeah. So it's like, no, we'll see you later.
So long story short, I didn't die, but it definitely like messed me up in the weeks following because I like kind of had PTSD, I guess. Like I felt like I almost had died, and I survived. So it completely like fractures your worldview as a 15-year-old, because as a 15-year-old you think you're invincible, and then you're suddenly like, oh my god, I'm not invincible. I'm only here for a short amount of time. Why am I here right now? And just all those questions started to like compound on themselves for the next few weeks. So, luckily, that December or January, brand new's Devil and God Are Raging Inside Me came out, which is like the perfect existential album.
Right.
And that kind of helped me start to cope. And then, yeah, now I'm 12 years, a long time later. I don't know, how old am I? 13 years later, 14 years later. And everything's pretty fine. Still definitely the anxiety. Still definitely sometimes get kept up at night by those existential thoughts. But
right. Well,
still not.
Let's see what our first artist has to say about existentialism and see how it kind of fits in, and then we'll go from there. So, starting out. Whoa! First off, oh my gosh, I almost forgot.
Oh my gosh,
I almost forgot our boy Jack.
Jack.
Okay.
Oh, we didn't.
The
say
intro.
His name. Yeah.
Yeah, Jack Morris, Alpine Blizzard, that song you heard at the beginning. He's a dude that's been listening to the show since
day one, basically. Yeah.
I was about to say, if he wasn't listening to episode 1, he's definitely gone back and listened, because he talks to us all the time about it, and he's a dude that we absolutely adore. First off, just side note, this won't make the podcast. Jack, if you're watching this, your stuff is getting so much better. Like, it was great at A, and now here we are at L, and you're just, it's awesome, man. Anyways,
every time.
Yeah, so that was Alpine Blizzard with Stranger featuring Jenny Ridgway. Now, Caleb, lead us into our first song.
All right, so our first song is from Strange Neighbors, and the song is called Ghost.
TV screen, static Michael Myers scream. Are you ready to lose? I have played all the roles, the whore, the fool, the pure soul. I keep getting bad reviews. I know that ghosts exist. How do I know that ghosts exist? I know that ghosts exist. You're looking at one right now. Feeling quite carry unstable. Kitchen knives on the table aren't conveniently placed. Dead weight is hard to drag. For a moment I may brag. I drag myself around each day. I know that ghosts exist. How do I know that ghosts exist? I know that ghosts exist. You're looking at one right now. exist? How do I know that ghosts exist? I know that ghosts exist. You're looking at one right now. I know that ghosts exist. You don't have to be convinced. I know that ghosts exist. You're looking at one right now.
Oh, come on.
3, 2, 1.
And that was Strange Neighbors with the song Ghost. So that song, Caleb and I both agree. Oh, man, and I would have gotten away with it. So, did you, first off, sorry, we'll get back to that. Did you see there's a tweet where the guy was like, the tweet was a news headline that said something along the lines of, man robs a pizza store, or a pizza place, whatever, and the employees basically stop the robber and take the mask off and realize that it's their old boss. And it's like the tweet under it was like, what kind of Scooby-Doo shit is this?
I didn't see that. That's exactly that's a perfect caption.
Yeah, right? Speaking of, I could definitely see my old boss trying to rob the place. But anyways, he's
but yeah, so
got some.
The reason that I got all spooky is there were so many horror movie tropes that get brought up in this song. There's a little bit of reference to Michael Myers, and that's what I really love about this movie. This song in general is that it's like very tongue in cheek, and it doesn't take itself too seriously. But at the same time, it has this question about whether or not ghosts exist, and whether or not you want to be the victim or the killer, which I think is an interesting, like, if those are your only options, I think that that's like an interesting sort of angle to take. But yeah, I just really love how not serious they take themselves. For example,
I was going to say their bio.
I would say this is their bio. Every once in a while, a band comes along that changes the world. But shit, that's a lot of responsibility. Strange Neighbors combines the talents of Aiden, Tracy, Dobb, Zach to make noise about things that matter, things that don't, and things that lie somewhere in between. And that's what I think that they do a really good job of, is, yeah, they do hit on some deeper issues, but they're also not super pretentious. Speaking of, I just saw Lord Huron the other night, and, like, I do love them, not trying to hate on anyone that likes them, but that dude, that was the first time I'd seen him live. That dude really loves the smell of his own farts. He loves them. And that's what I like about this band, is that they don't seem to like carry themselves with this air of we're changing the world. They're just making music and having fun and making art, and that's a much more believable stance for me.
Absolutely. Speaking of the ghost, I want to know, Caleb, do you believe?
Well, I don't know that I believe in ghosts as in there are spirits around after you die sort of thing. But
okay,
I do think from like a physics angle and what we know about time and space and all that, that it's possible that we're seeing reflections of the past or the future or something in the same place. And I don't know why. Like, obviously, it's very sci-fi at that point as to why, but I don't know. Maybe there's like a thinness in the multiverse or something. But I think there are some interesting stories out there where people definitely see things, but I don't know about ghosts.
Right.
What about you?
Well, first off, I'll tell you, my 3-year-old definitely believes in ghosts. And that's not to say that people that, like, I'm going to follow up with my stance. I'm not saying that people that believe are 3-year-olds, but he does it in, like, the cutest way possible. He'll always, like, he'll hide under a blanket and then he'll make a ghost noise. He'll be like, ooh, you know, and then I'm like, oh, I got to get out of here. There's a ghost. And then from under the covers, he's like, it's a nice ghost. This is the best thing ever. And then I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess I'll hang out. And then it'll just keep going. But anyways,
so is he a big Casper fan?
Is he a big Casper fan? No. It actually came from a not so great spot, probably. I don't know. We think he learned from his grandfather about ghosts, which actually it's really not a bad spot. It's actually pretty funny, because I'm definitely going to be that grandfather one day that's telling him all the things that are, you know, I'm going to be like, the Calvin. Do you remember the Calvin and Hobbes comic? I see you post Calvin and Hobbes comics a lot. The one where it's talking about how his dad, when he was a kid, convinced him that leprechauns in the ATM machine gave him their money.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to be
tell
that.
Lies and
exactly. Just to and just to build a bigger world for them too, because like you know, he still thinks he just learned that dinosaurs are extinct and he can't go see them, and I was kind of bummed when he learned that. I want him to think that it's, you know, I want him to dream big. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But anyways, me, ghosts. It's one of those things that I can't rule out. I don't want to rule it out. I don't know. I haven't seen a ghost, but I'm not calling everyone who says they have a liar. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like, you do you. I don't have an opinion on ghosts. If you do, I can see how you can be totally against them. I can't see necessarily how you'd be like gung ho about them, unless you are someone who's seen them. But
my immediate reaction to all that stuff is, yeah, I believe you saw what you saw, but brains are weird, man. Like,
right, exactly.
Brains let you believe things that are not actually there. Especially, I think, if you have a certain philosophy or religion that celebrates the idea of supernatural or spiritual, like, beings.
Right. Right.
So you're already, like, you're looking out for it or something, you know?
Let's say you have a predisposition that's been ingrained in you to watch out for a ghost, because anyways, I won't trudge down that path.
So anyway, I guess the bottom line is maybe, but also I don't think that's, even if they are real, I don't think it's necessarily, the only explanation is that it's some dead guy from the 1860s walking around and going ooh and rattling his chains.
I don't know why these tweets are coming to my mind. Did you see the one? It's like, this is what reminded me. You said it's the 1860s ghost. It says, why are ghosts always that? It says, I want to see a ghost from 2007 that screams, it's Britney, bitch.
Yeah.
Anyways,
it does seem like that the wardrobe fell off at some point with the ghosts.
Yeah, somehow. Maybe, we don't know. When you get to the afterlife, you turn in whatever clothes you're wearing and you grab some Victorian garb that, you know, and that's how you live the rest of your afterlife, I guess.
Chastity belt and all.
All right, let's jump into the next song. The next song is Esbifante with Aces High.
Call office walls. If this is it,
All right, guys. So again, that was Esby Fonte or Fonte or something with Aces High, and
What's something?
nah, it's Esby Fonte. I'm gonna go with that. And the lyric that gets repeated throughout is Aces High, and I'm so low, getting by on tomorrow. And it seems like there's a discussion going on about constantly looking towards the future and not being, and that kind of getting you through the day, and you're not particularly happy with your present.
The present, right?
Yeah, it's funny, or it's not funny, but what I like is the lyrics themselves seem to be talking a lot about working a 9 to 5 and being dissatisfied with that. But then the video, which we just showed to the live stream, which, by the way, podcast people, if you're looking for a place to look at the live stream, you can follow us on Facebook, and we always schedule it a few hours in advance. We're trying to get even more in advance of that, but, you know, life is hectic. And you can check out our live stream there where you hear me say weird stuff sometimes. But anyway, so the video kind of seems to be more home-based, but still the same sort of thing where you're dissatisfied with your home existence.
Yeah, absolutely. So these honestly, and if you've read anything on the blog before, if I get one, I get so stoked about getting to write about it. The song, you know, the song is about dissatisfaction in corporate America, my numbing nature of 9 to 5 work. That's one of my favorite things to write about because I am really, really passionate about not doing that. And just forget that the drone of the 9 to 5 and the hum in the back of your head that says, I'm doing this so I can retire at a decent age, because if it's something that you hate doing or whatever, it's going to... Now you've got all these... you don't know if you're going to get hit by a bus. Who knows anything about what's going to happen in the next 10 minutes, much less in the next 30 years. And B, honestly, if you don't want to work to fund someone else's dream, I'm all about working to fund your own. But anyways,
right.
This is one of my favorite things, but it is about the existentialism that comes along with getting stuck in that loop and having that hum saying that there's something, but it's in the future and it's going to happen eventually, instead of, you know, punching and making that change now.
You're 65, right?
Right, exactly. And you got so many health problems that you couldn't have seen coming that, you know, all of a sudden you can't do the things you wanted to do, and you know, things like that. But
we definitely talked a lot about that way back when, like episode 2 for Wanderlust. That was
absolutely
before we were going on our trip, both of our trips,
yeah,
and everything. And that's actually something that on the blog post for this one, I kind of put at the bottom because I was kind of depressing throughout, because I do think this is so many people's. Oh my god. So many people's reality is living for the weekend sort of thing. I mean, I definitely do it sometimes even.
Yep.
And I tried to give a little bit of words of encouragement at the end, like figure out a way to be passionate and love what you're doing at the same time that you're making enough money to provide for your family and survive.
To survive, right.
Exactly.
Real quick. Yeah, I'm not saying that if you have responsibilities, you just need to quit and become a professional. You know, you have a passion for pan flute, and you're going to become the greatest pan flute artist ever. You can't just drop responsibilities to pursue that. You have to do what you have to do while still working on that stuff. Sorry, yeah, just to make that explicitly clear.
Maybe you can start giving pan flute lessons or writing a blog
right.
on the pan flute, or I don't know.
Yeah. You have
there are
2 readers.
You can take to get towards that passion without sacrificing all of your time.
Right.
One thing that I think is interesting about this loop, it kind of goes back, and the way that this fits into existentialism, it kind of goes back to what you were saying at the top of the episode when you were talking about your first existential experience, and you were thinking about free will, right?
Right.
So I don't know if you've watched the show Westworld at all. I'm not gonna spoil anything, but one of the dynamics is they put these AI androids, whatever you want to call them.
I read Westworld.
Yeah. So
I read it, but I haven't seen the show.
They put them on loops, right? And that keeps them comfortable and gives them like a cornerstone to come back to over and over. Right. But one of the interesting things to me about the show is that it starts to deconstruct, well, how are we any different than that? How are we any different than these Android computers that we've created? Because most of us also stay on loops. Most of us do the same routine most days. Most of us have these cornerstones of existence that, where you're like, well, my dad was an alcoholic and beat his wife, which that's not true for me, but I just threw a random thing out there. And that's like the cornerstone of who you are as a person, or, whatever, some other, it usually is involved in trauma. So then when you start to think about your own loop, it does make you question a little bit why we're here if it's just to slave away for some CEO somewhere.
Right, absolutely. And real quick, just before we move on from this, you said earlier, go to the Facebook. Just real quick, check out all of the songs that we play. Check them out. Go to the show notes for the episode. Find out where they're going to be. Find out where you can buy their merch. Everything like that. And you can do all of that from either Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, our website. Everything that has a handle is just at B-Side Guys. So you can find it on, and then the website is just bsideguys.com. So you can find all of the information on these guys on really any of our platforms. You'll at least be able to find a thread to pull.
Exactly.
So, Caleb,
yeah,
what's going on next?
Let's get into our next song. It's by, and I may screw up the second part, but it's Indian.
We are at odds.
Yeah.
We are at odds on how it would be. But
so I say it's Indian Askin. Seth says it's Indian Askin.
And that just sounds better to my ears. It looks like it phonetically reads Askin, but anyways.
Anyway, so I'm just going to go with Askin. If it's Askin, sorry, you'll still be able to look it up on your own. Indian Askin with I Feel Something. And I was not queued up for that.
Inside, oh no.
That, oh, no, you're good. That was Indian Askin with I Feel Something. That was Indian Askin with I Feel Something. Now we have both, just in case. All right. All right. So that song, Caleb played the video. I haven't actually gotten to watch the video yet. You guys that are watching live stream got to see it before I did.
Yeah, it's trippy. It's
yeah.
It'll be linked in the show notes for you podcast people.
So I can't really speak to that, but I can speak to the song and the lyrics. So we know kind of what the song is about after talking to the band. And the song, it's about what happens really with your psyche after a traumatic event. So they said you feel like you're at the edge of everything, looking into the abyss of what comes after, and like what comes after this traumatic event, and there's just nothing. And then all of a sudden not all of a sudden, but over time, you start to realize that you do feel something again. And it's not, Caleb made a good point, which was that it's not necessarily you're feeling happy.
Well, I mean,
you're just not feeling...
Yeah, the song ends, I can't get to the shoreline, I'm swimming till I drown. I thought I was dead inside, but I feel something again. So, I mean, to me that implies he still died, but he felt the drowning before he died. So it's still not like hunky-dory, but...
Right, it's not great, but...
It's a breakout of numbness, which is what I think you said during the in-between. So Indian Askin just dropped their debut album, Sea of Ethanol, in April of 2016, and it quickly shot up the Dutch album charts at number 8. So they've had some relative success. I mean, I believe it. The song sounds
awesome. Yeah,
so cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was just going to tell a little bit of background of the band. So they've been around since 2007. So 2007 to 2016, they were just honing their craft, making music, and coming out, which
demos or something. But
yeah, and that's something that I always reference this guy, but it's just because he's someone that I idolize. But Andy Hull was talking about how their first album was 100 songs chopped down to 10, and it's one of his favorite albums. Well, and then he was saying, but once with the reason they created Favorite Gentleman was because so many people were being pressured they make this beautiful freshman album, and then now someone is like jamming down their throat deadlines, and you can't create these, you can't create 100 songs to find the best 10. Yeah. But anyway, so these guys, they found their best 10, and I don't know how many songs are on the album, obviously, but I'm just saying, they had almost a decade to create songs, and they come out with really, really solid stuff like this. But its lead singer, Chino Alaya, is how I think I would say it. He's a writer, singer, and guitarist, and he's one of the producers of the band. He has Paraguayan roots, and more specifically, he is descended from the Guarani Indians.
From the band name comes from.
Yeah, I would say Indian.
Yeah, exactly. But so they've all been together for a long time, and they're all relatively young. The oldest was born in '87.
Right.
But so basically, what I'm saying is, hopefully, we got a lot more coming.
I was about to say this isn't just the beginning. I would imagine because they're solid.
Exactly. But so I just wanted to ask, like, in your experience, do these existential thoughts come in harder, like after some sort of traumatic event in your life, or depression, or just a downtime, or do you get fairly constantly?
No, I would say for me at least, they definitely come in a downtime or a depressed time or something like that, because I think my personality is that when I'm not in that downtime and when I'm happier, I'm more concerned with other people's lives and trying to make other people happy. Whereas when I'm depressed, that's really when I get super introspective and worry about what the hell I'm doing. And then so that's when I really get I get in on my own thoughts and wondering what the point of really anything is. And it's like, you know, I don't know what this traumatic event is, but you know, everyone's had something in their life. No one has made it this far, you know, to 30, and not had something that made you question what's happening. And really, honestly, if there's a puppet master, well, what are they doing? And if not, then like, you know, it's a lot of we won't go down that path necessarily.
Well, one thing I will say down that path is that I think that's one of the biggest complications with religion is that the idea of, or not with religion, but with a God that's paying attention is, you know, one of the tenets of most religions is God is all powerful and all good, right?
Right.
But then if you do experience trauma in your own life, or you see other people going through trauma, it starts to complicate one of those notions, right? Like, if he's all powerful, why is he not doing something about it? That must mean he's not all good. Or if he's all good, if he's not doing something about it, that must mean he's not, or he's powerless to do so. And that's where you get into the whole, like, God works in mysterious ways sort of thing, right? Where,
right.
Where it's like, it's not something that I guess you can understand.
I mean, yeah, and I've been, you know, very open about on the podcast about, you know, I do believe in a higher power, and I do believe that it's a you know, the God that's whatever. That we won't go down that path, but right. The point is, one part that I do struggle with is exactly what you're talking about. It's the so especially one of the things that you grow up with in religion, where it's the idea that if you don't do, you know, X, which in the case of Christianity is you know, confess, you know, that Jesus is who he said he is, all that good stuff, then you die and go to hell, right? But then you start to think, and it's so tough for me to understand, because you're talking about, so you know, anything from a child who couldn't possibly grasp the idea of a God to, you know, Nepalese villages who have never heard of Christianity getting wiped out by monsoons. And it's like, wait a minute, that doesn't compute with me if it's this positive entity for good that these people never, like, I mean, and this gets into, I don't want to open up a can of worms with this, but this gets into a whole, based on where you're born, you never have a chance, right, translating to the afterlife as well now. And it's like, wait a minute.
That seems like your whole Calvinism question from when you were a kid.
Right. Right. It's the whole, like, yeah, the second I'm born is my fate decided. So really, what's the point?
Right. So I mean, I think all of that fits perfectly into existentialism, and I think that the reason that pretty much everyone, I think, at some point comes across an existential thought is because we don't have all the answers. I mean, even if we do ascribe to certain religions or philosophies or science or like whatever, none of those paths is going to be able to answer all of your questions. And that's where faith comes in. That's where the idea that we may one day figure it out comes in with science or whatever. And in the meantime, all we can do is make art, I guess.
All right, guys, let's get into the next song. It is Glass Lungs with Casting Stones.
So, again, that was Glass Lungs with the song Casting Stones, which I feel like the title itself has a lot of impact. I mean, the immediate thought that I have is the whole casting stones while you're in glass houses metaphor or whatever.
Right.
But yeah, so one of the big lyrics that stood out to me that's in that song says, "All you want to know is what are we destined for," which obviously fits into the existentialism.
True. I was going to say, you can,
Yeah.
we're done.
Yeah.
Like that's, anyways.
If this town is treason as the walls converge. So the angle that I wanted to take with this song, and I'm not saying that the song is explicitly about this, but it just reminded me of it, is the way that when politics or your government or the place that you reside seem absurd, it can start to make you question everything around you because you see these people that you trust or you trusted, see these people that you respect doing things that, or saying things or agreeing with things that are just absurd, and it makes you question kind of everything. And so one thing I wrote on the blog post for this was that the Bush era of America was very good for punk. That, you know, we saw Green Day's American Idiot album came out in the midst of all of that. And now I'm not as high on that album as some people, but it was pretty good. I'm interested to see how this genre, which I would fit this not in punk in a conventional sense, but you know, if you're putting a big umbrella over it in that tradition. And I'm interested to see what the current regime, like what art is created because as a reaction to the current
Right.
regime.
Now, yeah, with these guys, yeah, classifying them as punk, I feel like
it's more like Circus Survive, which is.
I was gonna say if we're talking Circus, you know, like prog or post rock that has like. Anyways, it doesn't matter. It's phenomenal, so we'll just leave it at that. We'll let them classify themselves if they want to. Who really cares?
Right.
I know this song, though, they say that it's a more aggressive and progressive side to the band, so I'd be interested to see what Steady is for them and see what's going on there.
Yeah.
But
and I did
with this song,
a full-length album last month. Called Impermanence, and we'll put the link to that in the show notes. But go ahead, Seth.
Yeah. No, I was going to say your point about there was a viral video that went all over the place a little while ago where a guy wrote a song about Trump's presidency, and it was just it's just a scalding slap in the face. And then he was talking about in the song how some of the best music comes in the most tumultuous times of the country, in the worst times of the country. And he was talking about how he was like, and the same is true of the inverse. He said Bill Clinton gave us Nickelback. And I was like, that's actually pretty true. But anyways, just something funny and something, because I have noticed some of the most, poignant and thought-provoking songs that I've heard in a long time have come out in the past year, where everyone is just really confused about what they want to, or where they want to take everything, honestly.
It's a really weird time.
Yeah.
I mean, I think we've talked about it at length, and again, I can't recommend enough that interview that I had with Rafa earlier.
Rafa, man, yeah.
But yeah, it's a weird time, and the biggest issue I have with all of it, but also the thing that I understand about all of it, is there are a lot of people that I respect that are, I guess, Republicans no matter what. And in the past, I would have thought that if a certain demagogue, like scary sort of person would have come along, they would have recognized it and they would have been like, okay, I'm Republican up until this point.
Right.
But they're just not, and that's fine. I mean, they feel like they're being lied to too, right? I mean, it's not fine, but they feel like they're being lied to too.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, and I guess the point is,
times. It's just very, very divided.
Yeah, I guess the point is, I mean, it has to be fine now because there's really nothing you can do about it except for learn and move on and grow from it and build on it. Because you can't exactly go back and recast your vote.
Right.
But anyways,
I don't know that you have to defend it, but
exactly, like you don't owe anyone an explanation. I was going to say Caleb has. If you guys don't follow Caleb personally on Facebook, he has these really thought-provoking conversations with people from both sides of the fence, specifically another Caleb, and they are just really, they're both very well thought out. They're very well researched, and and they both are coming from a place of knowledge and of learned men.
If I'm going to take that in a serious direction, because I know you're dripping with sarcasm.
It's tough to read, guys.
I know. Yeah, I think it's important that we keep talking to each other. That's all we can do.
That's true.
But back to the song. One thing I really like about it is the song feels like it's looking around, realizing that the world's on fire, and wishing that you had a bigger hose. And yeah, I just quoted myself from the blog post. But that's just the feeling I got from the lyrics is that angst that comes with like feeling bad for everyone, for everything, for existence.
Right.
Because existence is brutal a lot of the time, and wishing you could do more about it.
Yeah, and there was a song, like, just to plug another song that we shared on the blog that is not going to be on the episode. There was a song, I'm trying to find it real quick now. It was, do you remember, Caleb, the one that they talked about? It was the guy, the letters to his future children that might never happen.
JP.
Do you remember that one?
JP,
yeah, I actually just found it. Yeah. Man, that song is so great, and it's basically, if you guys haven't heard it, it's called J is just the letter J, and then P is P-E-E, and the song is called To the Kids That I Might Never Have, and it's basically this letter addressed to future generations that's like, sorry we fucked it up, basically, and saying that good luck, it's our fault.
Well, I think it's easy, like, I still do it sometimes, to blame the baby boomers, and
right.
For all intents and purposes,
I mean,
fuck the baby boomers. Sorry, guys, and I know I know some of you, but yeah.
As a generation, he's not calling out individuals.
But the thing that's disturbing to me is they could say the same thing about us in 50 years if we don't do something about it, because I know plenty of people that are my age that are just going to continue the tradition, and it's fine. So basically, if you're a millennial or Gen X or Gen Z or out there that don't want 20 years from now people to say fuck the millennials or whatever, I mean, they're already saying that, but
it's the baby boomers.
Yeah, right.
It's cool.
And maybe try to do something about it. And that means be active and drown out those terrible voices. Let's move on to
Let's do it.
Next song. So our next song is Robin Hayes with the song Autopilot Hijack.
chasing these old dreams, Cadillac schemes, hellbound and whiskey band. Our love is like a vacuum, yeah, sucking at our heart. Leaves you hanging high and dry and broken down, lost but never found. I say all the wrong things, yeah, always at the right time. Burn every bridge I ever had in the flash of another vodka lime. Tripping in the bathroom, I guess I should go home soon. Don't wanna be a Cadillac reject on the side of the road, out of pilot hijack. On the side of the road, out of pilot hijack. Run away, I wanna run away, far from the crowd, I wanna run away. Godspeed, I'm chasing my own tail. So wasted, got to find my way back again. But I know from the bell tolls, ain't no more rock and roll. Never could find me a wrecking crew, but that's just how it goes. I say all the right things, but always at the wrong time. Burn every bridge I ever had in the flash of another white line. Tripping in the bathroom, I guess I should go home soon. Don't wanna be a Cadillac reject on the side of the road, out of pilot hijack. On the side of the road, out of pilot hijack.
that was Robin Hayes with Autopilot Hijack. So let's just go ahead and get, knock out. We do have a problem where we sometimes go on tangents, and that's just who we are. And you either love it or hate it, and if you hate it, by now you're not listening to the show. But
just hit that little 15-second forward button on your podcast app until you hear music again, because the music's always going to be good.
Yeah, the music's going to be amazing, so you should definitely stick around. But I want to get into what this song has to do with existentialism. So the title, which Caleb said, the title, which is repeated several times throughout the song, it lends itself to the vibe of existentialism. Even the hijacking is in autopilot. And honestly, like, it could be the autopilot is not, or the hijacking is an autopilot, but
you're hijacking.
Could it be
autopilot, like something that's in autopilot?
Right, but honestly, could it be the breakaway from the autopilot, like you're hijacking, But anyways, there's a lot to pull apart just in the title itself. But the song has this. It's once again one of my favorite types of songs in the way that the song is composed and built. I love rambling songs, and I guess it's because I ramble, and I get it, whatever. But, just the plodding along, riding the horse or driving the car in this setting, and this is definitely one of those songs that lends itself to that idea.
Yeah, it's a great road trip song, for sure.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, I mean, the way it fit into existentialism for me is it gives this whole vibe of, like, what the hell are you doing with your life? Either you're letting the autopilot hijack you, or you're realizing that you've been in autopilot so long that you have to take it over.
Right.
But either way, it's this sense of, kind of similar to what we talked about before, of waking up suddenly and you're like, oh my God, where did the past 5 years go?
Right.
I only have 30 left. I only have 50 left. I only have 10 left. Like, wherever you're at in your life.
Sure.
And those moments are terrifying. And I like to think if you live every day full of passion, you won't hit those moments as much. I mean, I can't guarantee it. I don't know. You could live every day full of passion and love life so much that you hit 40 and you're like, damn it. I mean, I want more,
Right.
But I tend to think that that's a better position to be in than wasting the next 20 years. But yeah, so, and then the song in general is just very, like, trippy and weird with some of the droney, like atmospheric, I don't know if it's sense, but just effects that are going on in the background.
Right. Right.
Which he describes himself as a psychedelic artist, and one main thing about psychedelia, right?
Yeah. I wasn't laughing at you. I was laughing at a quote on the show notes.
Oh, gotcha. Is the concept of the sublime, which is where the band name came from as well, which is actually a romantic notion, like the romantic period in poetry and art and all of that sort of stuff. And it was meant to describe that feeling that you get when you're standing beside an ocean, or you're tripping out on LSD, or not that I've done that, but or you're thinking too deeply about space. So it's a combination of awe and terror, and I think this song captures the concept of sublime.
Right. Absolutely. A little bit about Robin Hayes, half American, half Swedish artist, living in Gothenburg, I guess. Is that?
That sounds Swedish.
Yeah. But so he goes into his backstory a little bit and about how his family is from all over, and anyways, one of his first memories of music was his mother singing the old folk lullaby, Baby's Boat, the Silver Moon Sailing in the Sky. Do you know that song?
No.
I have no idea. And that song still echoes in the back of my mind. So he said he'd love to cover it one day. So if you if any of you, because we know a lot of our listenership is musicians, if you think that Robin Hayes' vibe is cool, reach out to him with an idea about that song. And especially if you know that song, you guys can work together. But anyways, he says that, and this is that, he says that he sounds naive, and a lot of people would say that the guy just likes to dream of a utopia.
It sucks though that that's where we're at, but yeah.
Right, but he says he sounds naive, but he dreams of a day where humanity sets aside disputes over land, money, and power so that we can create and explore together as one race on spaceship Earth. Which I know he's talking about Earth is floating through space, but the way my mind works, ADD and all that good stuff, humanity, Earth is attacked by aliens, and the last remaining survivors from all walks of life got on this last spaceship and jetted off into space, and now that's where they live. And there's a 44.5-minute episode dramatic TV series that's based on it, but I don't know who watches it because everyone on Earth is dead. But whatever.
It's not about the fans. It's about making the art you want.
Absolutely, and it's about figuring out what you want to achieve, and he wants to achieve Spaceship Earth.
You can just bury it in the ground and hope some life form evolves enough on Earth to eventually come across it.
Who knows? Yeah. Who knows? All right, man.
Let's start.
Yeah, so we do have one more song. We're gonna start to land the plane.
Slide down the spiral slide to the bottom of this episode. Let's start to frolic in the ball pit. That is. I'm just gonna keep do it like. So I noticed on the last episode, I rattled off 4 different metaphors to say the end. So I'm just gonna start getting more and more ridiculous with them.
Frolic in the ball pit. Oh man.
So yeah, Jeff mentioned earlier, you can follow us at B-Side Guys on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, everywhere. Also, you can go to bsideguys.com to find everything. We have a blog post every single day. We have interviews. We have past podcast episodes. We have a link to our Patreon page. We have merch, like this T-shirt that's right behind me. Oh, there it is. And we have that in 4 different colors. So yeah, go check all that out.
And no matter which one you buy now, if you bought one earlier and it didn't have the ridges on the record, they all have the ridges on the record now. Problem has been solved. So if you wanted another one and you bought one that didn't have the ridges, talk to us. We might can figure something out.
You should complain Teespring.
Yeah, because Teespring. Yeah, they kind of screwed us over, but that's okay. But yeah, you can find us wherever. Now, one thing that Caleb didn't talk about, you did talk about Facebook a little bit, but every episode,
all right,
we want to give something away. We want to give something to you people out there.
I heard we have a CD coming to us from an artist on the blog.
Yeah, so we do have a CD, and that's an interesting track. It's from what was the name of that band? Wayne Graham.
Yeah,
Wayne Graham, and it's 2 brothers. The song's called Bloody Montana. Go check it out on the blog. They have a CD coming our way.
Could be coming your way.
And it could be coming your way, yeah. Which, first off, really cool song and really interesting how close it was to the roots of not where my wife grew up. She grew up here, but where her parents grew up. It was 30 minutes from Wise County, Virginia, is where they grew up. So it was a really interesting track because it's going to visit that part of the country. You can see it's the same. Songs about coal mining and the industry up there and things like that. But it's super cool. Anyways, so that CD or something, depending on when that CD gets here, is going to belong to Hugo Fowler. Hugo Fowler is going to be our winner today, and the way we decide that is follow us on Facebook and then listen to the show. Those are the only two things that are required. Because we pick someone from our Facebook list, so all 1,100 and some change or something like that. It's awesome. We pick one of you, and then we say the name on the show. That's it. We don't post it anywhere. We don't do anything like that. So you have to listen to the show to know if you won or not. So, Hugo, send us a message, and we will send you some cool stuff. Anyways, let's talk about, there is one more song, so don't go anywhere, guys. Caleb, tell us about it.
Yeah, so the very last song tonight, is Fort Hill with the song Marks. And the way that it dealt with existentialism is mostly, I felt like just the vibe of the song was. So there's these really interesting disjointed brass and synth tracks that sound like they shouldn't work, and then they just do. But yeah, and it's got a very like Bon Iver sort of feel to it, which I don't know if you've listened to Bon Iver's Forever Ago album, but that album always gives me like a sense of existentialism. And it's the first track off of his debut EP Kingdoms, which just came out in May. So if you like this song, you should go check out the rest of his EP.
Yeah, awesome. So, like we said earlier, anywhere you go, at B-Side Guys. So go check out the show notes to find all of the information on the artist. Or honestly, it's going to be right below wherever you're listening right now, too. Right. You can just click there. So follow these guys. Give them money. Buy their merch. Buy their CDs. Or if you can't, swing that, just let them know you're listening and you're enjoying it and it's speaking to you. Like, that's a huge... I mean, obviously, money is what pays bills. Like, good intentions and nice words don't pay a mortgage, but it does go a long way in helping independent artists feel valued and feel like someone's listening, because that's a problem across the board, is that
everyone we play on the show, like, none of them are like raking in the cash from their careers yet. If you want,
that's kind of the whole point of this,
right? Exactly. If you want a pro tip, if you don't want to give any financial money, go to their Spotify page, put one of their songs on repeat, put it on silent, and go to sleep. And you just, gave them a few bucks just by playing it all night or whatever.
Well, not really a few bucks. Spotify, they don't really give a lot of money, but that's okay. You're giving them something, and you're giving them plays, which gives them recognition to get on other playlists and do all these other things. So that was actually, now that you mentioned that, Emily Brown that we had on the last episode, right? Yeah. I saw that she did this thing where her parents, they were like, to show their support, they just wanted to put their Spotify on repeat and listen to it forever. And that's the first time that I had heard of that. Yeah. But it's a brilliant idea.
I think I can't remember what band it was. It's a band that's pretty well known now. Wolfpack. They created a silent album and put it on Spotify. They can't. They made Spotify change the rules because Spotify doesn't allow that anymore. They did that to fund their first EP or something. They made a silent album and asked their fans to just like play it on repeat.
I love it. You did something too good when people change rules.
They changed the rules, exactly.
Yeah, that's awesome.
But anyway, so last song is Fort Hill Marks.
All right, Caleb, does that about do it?
I believe that about does it, Seth. Have a good week, guys.
Awesome. Hey, thanks for hanging out. Fort Hill Marks. Bye.
Where will you and I be found? The day the stars have all burned out. Oh, no. Nothing left but empty space. All our signs erased. All the roads that lead you home. And all the laws we once held set in stone. Leave them all behind. Yeah, leave them all behind. Come lay here by my side. I can see the marks it's left in me. All the ways I've learned to all these years. Where the weavers lead